This first one. Okay, so Anthony Albanese, the Prime Minister, has closed his electoral office. So every Member of Parliament is expected, oh, they were given funding for it, but they're expected to maintain an electoral office within their electorate. So it's basically a place the everyday public can go and visit and get information from the staff of the politician. It's a means for members of the public to give information back to the politician, and that it's where the politician is expected to be sometimes when they're in their electorate, and it's basically a touch point between the politician and their electorate. Albanese's a Labor politician out of the union system, I believe, before that, and is considered, well, by one lot of people, considered very liberalised, um, yet by the further left, he's not considered very liberalised at all. In fact, there's a lot of complaining at the moment, more so from people who should be supporting him or historically would have supported him, that they don't think he's gone far enough. And he certainly upset the unions, who are the traditional support base for the Labor Party, and he's upsetting other Labor supporters with his stance on various things. And to then get a pushback to the point that he's got to close his electoral office out of safety concerns. If we didn't know what else was going on in society at the moment, you'd probably assume that the reason a Labor Party member has to shut their electoral office due to protests and everything else would be protests coming from Liberal supporters, the Conservative Party here in Australia. So from Conservative protesters. But, well, for a start, you can see a Palestinian flag. It's not a lot of Conservative support for the Palestinian concern at the moment. Um, right there, that a lot of focus on his on the protesting at his electoral office has been because of the government stance on the Gaza war. Now, oddly enough, Albanese has come out and said that Australia is going to recognise Palestinian statehood at the next UN General Assembly. I believe that's the timing for it, and that there's a few other nations going to do the same sort of thing. Funnily enough, Denmark said they wouldn't. That's a bit weird. But irrespective of recognition or anything like that, you're getting aggressive protesters. Now, if I was to believe the media, it would be that it's all sunshines and rainbows on the left side of politics. Well, the reality seems to be that there's a lot more disrupting socialist black bloc and anarchist protesters out there than anything else. And in fact, the disruption seems to be coming from those further down the left. I mean, or maybe not further down the left, but those certainly on the left side. Yes, they were considered right side in the recent Australian anti-immigration marches, but marches for Australia. But they're not forcing the politicians to close their electoral offices. No, no. So it's is it the are the protesters biting the hand that feeds them? Is it the politician ignoring the hand that put them into power? Hmm. Yeah, it's yeah, kind of funny that they perceive Australia's inaction. Australia's probably doing more politically. Well, again, words, words. Um, yeah, it's and well, there you go. Violence against other MP officers, which again suggests the political violence is coming from one side, but no, we can't talk about that. So yeah, that's from Channel 9. So not a huge surprise they had that position. Disruption to funerals and other church services. Well, I think that's probably a bit much. And so it's yeah, it's one of those things that people see don't see consequence for their own actions. You you kind of see the early comments or the comments that haven't had time to stew for a while uh, tend to be a bit more raw. I don't like listening to the comments on a lot of these news websites. They're very heavily slanted. But yeah, certainly people saying it's a damage control exercise at the moment, but lacks the conscious awareness, apparently, of how they contributed to the setup and the situation and why they're running away from it right now. So it's like, yeah, why would he want to move away from these protesters now? Like I said, he's got the recent um, announcement that he's going to recognise Palestinian statehood. Yeah, that might be flip flopped by the sounds of things. I mean, if you're going to be a bit cynical in how you read it, it's just yeah, I try not to read the comments. They're almost as aggravating as the actual um, articles themselves. But this is a fair point here about, well, hang on. I thought they were supposed to be peaceful protesters, and it's the people on the right that are criminals and vandals and everything else. It's just like, yeah, it's people struggle to read sometimes. But anywho, I think that was the only other article I missed on that one. Oh, nope, there's one more. The one from the SBS, which is obviously the very the special broadcasting service. So these guys are going to have the very heavily pro-Palestinian pro-Palestinian viewpoint. So they're going to be very much in favour of the protesters and probably less in favour of him. I mean, also in favour. It's like they're trying to pick which one they oppression Olympics. Who's going to win the oppression Olympics? These guys will, I think. So they don't have comments. So it'll be just a case of it seems pretty much the same sort of statement. Obviously acknowledging the protests that were there, and yeah, obviously they're not going to go too far into it because you don't see any real discussion of of why they're being disruptive and how they're being disruptive. Again, leans it leans the way it does.